So this foreigner is convincing Muni that he is a modest businessman. He is not a millionaire, and so Muni should not desire a large amount, a large sum of money from the foreigner in exchange for the horse. Why is he telling Muni all this? That I'm a modest businessman, just to bargain, right? That please do not ask a large sum of money for this horse. I am not a millionaire. Then the visitor, feeling that he had spent too much time already, said, "Tell me, will you accept 100 rupees or not for the horse?" So now he is making a proposal that I am offering you 100 rupees for this horse. So tell me, will you accept it or not? I'd love to take the whiskered soldier also, but no space for him this year, right? So he's saying that I would have loved to take this the statue of the warrior that was with the horse. I would love to take this also. Whiskered means with the mustache, right? So I would take this also. Whiskers refers to the like men have mustache, so similarly the cats, they have whiskers, right, above their mouth. So that hair refers to whiskers. So he is calling the mustache of the warrior as whiskered, right? So he's saying I would have taken this whiskered soldier also, but no space for him this year, means he cannot afford it to take it this year. Maybe in future he'll come and take it. I'll have to cancel my air ticket and take a boat home, I suppose. Now see all the pains that he is taking for this horse, right? Obviously he cannot carry this horse statue in an aeroplane. So he's saying that I'll have to cancel my air ticket and I'll have to take a boat, book a boat and then go by that, right? Because in between these two continents, there'll be that ocean. He has to cross the ocean. So he has to either go by air or by sea, right? So he's saying, I cannot take this horse statue by air. So now I'll have to take a boat and then I'll have to go by that. Ruth can go by air if she likes. He's not sure that if his wife would agree to go through by the boat or not. So he's saying that if she will like, she can go by air alone, but I will go with the horse, keep him in my cabin all the way if necessary, right? He's showing that this horse has become very dear to him and he won't go by air. He could have also gone by air and gotten this horse delivered to him by sea, but he's saying no, I'll travel by the boat along with the horse and I'll keep this statue in my cabin so that nothing, no damage occurs to this horse. And he smiled at the picture of himself voyaging across the seas, hugging this horse. So he's just imagining it and smiling at the thought of it. He added, I'll have to pad it with straw so that it doesn't break. So you must have seen when delicate items are transported, couriered, what is done? They are kept in between thermocol or straw, or some cushion is provided, right? So that if it hits some other thing, it doesn't break. That cushiony layer absorbs the shock. So he's saying that I'm going to pad this or cushion this statue with straw so that it doesn't break, right? I have my station wagon, as you see. So he's showing the vehicle that he has brought. He's saying that I have my station wagon. You can see this. I can push the seat back and take the horse in if you will just lend me a hand with it. So his vehicle is a big one and it has the space to keep in the horse as well. So he has to just shift the seat a little bit. Nowadays you've seen that in cars and all, you can adjust the seats, right? Shift them forward and backward. So he also had such an arrangement. So he's saying that I'll just push the seat back a little bit and then there will be space for this horse to be kept. But I need your help. Just lend me a hand. Lend me a hand means I'll need your help. Lend me a hand and I can lift of the horse from its pedestal after picking out the cement at the joints. So now this horse has been cemented on this pedestal. So he's saying that I'll have to pick out the cement, that is, he'll, just scratch a little bit to get that horse lifted off from the pedestal. We can do anything if we have a basis of understanding. So he says that, we have to just understand things, and then we'll be able to make out how we have to do a certain task. At this stage, the mutual mystification was complete. That is the confusion that was going on. And there was no need even to carry on a guessing game at the meaning of words. The old man chattered away in a spirit of balancing of the credits and debits of conversational exchange. Credit and debit of exchange means in bank, when you go and you put in some amount of money in your account, right? Money is added in your account, that is referred to as credit. And when it is taken away from your account, spent, or you take it off, the amount lessens in the account, it is referred to as debit. So this exchange of money has been used over here as in the exchange of conversation, right? Like one was speaking and the other was listening, and the other was speaking and the first one was listening. So this debit and credit was going on. And then the old man chattered in a spirit of balancing means, Abhi, what had happened? This foreigner had spoken. So now old man is now chattering to balance that credit. Means now the foreigner has spoken. So now it's the chance of the Muni to speak. So now he was chattering away and chattering away, speaking to balance this exchange, this conversational exchange that was going on. And said in order to be on the credit side, means he wanted to be on the profitable side. He wanted to have the upper hand. And so he said, what did he say? Oh, honorable one, I hope God has blessed you with numerous progeny. So he is calling this foreigner honorable person, and he is wishing him good and saying that I really hope that God has blessed you with numerous progeny. That is, you have lots and lots of children. I say this because you seem to be a good man, willing to stay beside an old man and talk to him. Now he's thinking that this man is a really good man. Why? Because he's wasting away his time. He's standing with an old man who seems to be insignificant for the others, and he is spending such a lot of time with me, who is insignificant for the others. He's offered me a smoke, and he's talking to me since a long time. So this person is a very good man, and I really hope that you have lots and lots of children. Now, why is he wishing him that he has lots of children? Because he doesn't have any children, and he knows the value of it, right? When you don't have something, you know that how valuable that particular thing is. So he knows the value of children, and so he doesn't want this good man to remain childless, and he wishes that I really hope that you have lots and lots of children, right? You seem to, and he also believes that when children come in a family, they bring God's blessings with them, right? So he is rich and everything is good, and he's a courteous man, so he should have all the blessings of God. While all day I have none to talk to except when somebody stops by to ask for a piece of tobacco. He's saying that nobody talks to me. I don't get anyone to talk to me. Only one or two people moving about stop sometimes, that too to ask for a piece of tobacco, right? The ones who are addicted to it, if they've finished it off, they just stop by and ask that, do you have some tobacco? Please give it to me, right? So they stop. So when they are stopping and coming to Muni to talk to him, they are doing it for their own, for their own purposes, right? Not to talk to Muni, right? They've not come for Muni, they've come for their own desire, right? So he's saying that nobody takes pains to come and talk to me, but you have spent such a lot of time talking to me. but I seldom have it. Seldom, shows a bit, takes you to a negative side, right? So he says, I seldom have it, means almost never, right? He's very poor. He's not rich enough that he'll buy, he doesn't have money to buy his meals. So how come is he going to buy tobacco, right? Tobacco is not what it used to be at one time, and I have given up chewing. Now, to make an excuse that why don't I have tobacco, he's saying now, these days tobacco is not what it used to be like in previous times, and so I have given up, chewing tobacco. I don't like tobacco anymore because it has lost its quality. I cannot afford it nowadays. Now he's also accepting that I cannot afford it nowadays. Noting the other's interest in his speech, Muni felt encouraged to ask. Now, the foreigner was listening to him with great interest, again, trying to understand that whether he has accepted the 100 rupee offer or not, right? He was listening very carefully. So, Muni noticed that this person is listening to me with great interest. So now he felt, I can ask something. So he got some encouragement and he asked that how many children have you? That is, how many children do you have, with appropriate gestures with his hand. So he showed some gestures asking that how many children, like you do this now, that how many children do you have? So now when he asked how many, what did the foreigner think? The foreigner had talked about money, and Muni is, gesturing how many. So he realizing that a question was being asked, the red man replied, I said 100. So now he's telling that 100, right? At which Muni this encouraged Muni to go into details. So now, don't know whether Muni understood that 100 or not, but understood that some reply has been given to me. That means he has children, right? He is saying some number, that means he has got children. So now Muni is asking the details. How many of your children are boys and how many girls, right? Imagine 100 kids, but still he is asking that how many children are boys and how many are girls. Where are they? Is your daughter married? Is it difficult to find a son-in-law in your country also, right? So like in India, especially in the villages, it's very difficult to get your daughters married. So now he is asking all sorts of questions, that how many daughters do you have, how many sons do you have, is your daughter married or not, is it very tough to get good son-in-laws in your country also, like it happens over here? So he is asking all sorts of details. In answer to these questions, the red man dashed his hand into his pocket and brought forth his wallet. So he did not understand, the foreigner did not understand that what Muni is asking, but he understood that there were a lot of questions, right? So what did he do? He quickly put his hand in his pocket and brought out his wallet, that small purse that men carry, right? So that is wallet. He took out his wallet in order to take immediate advantage of bearish trend in the market. Bearish trend means when the price of something falls down, right? So he felt that, Muni is trying to bargain. So before he increases the price, let me take advantage of this. According to him, he is giving very less price for the horse, right? Because it's very the things are very high priced at very high rates in America, right? These things you get at a very high price, right? So he felt that he was offering a very low price for this horse, right? According to the foreigner, he had offered a very low price for the horse, that was 100 rupees, right? So he thought that before Muni raises the price, I should quickly, do the deal. So he took out bearish trend, means that is when the price had fallen in the market. So he took immediate advantage of it. He took out his wallet and took out a 100 rupee currency note and said, well, this is what I meant. He showed the 100 rupee note and said, see, this is what I meant. I'm going to give you this. The old man now realized, now looking at the currency note, what did Muni understand? He realized that some financial element was entering their talk. Now he understood that the topic has shifted from sons and daughters to some money thing, some financial thing, right? He peered closely at the currency note. So now he, looked at it very closely and observed it. This currency note. Why does he need to observe? Because he hasn't seen a 100 rupee note in his life. He was so poor, he hasn't seen a 100 rupee note. So he is, observing it clearly, understanding that this is some, note or something, some money, but what is it? He could not make out. The like of which he had never seen in his life. He had never seen a 100 rupee note in his life. He knew the 5 and 10 by their colors. Now he cannot study, but he could, by the color of the note, make out which one is a 5 rupee note, which one is a 10 rupee note. That was the maximum that he had seen in his life, right? Although always in other people's hands, right? When he used to go to the shop or something, people used to get into dealings, they would be exchanging 5 and 10 rupee notes. Then he had seen the 5 and 10 rupee notes, that too in other people's hand. He never had a 5 rupee or a 10 rupee note even. So leave the 100 rupee alone, right? 100 rupee note he has never seen in his life, while his own earning at any time was in coppers and nickels, that is the coins. That all right. So his earnings were always coins. As it is, there is much poverty in the villages. People are poor. They earn very little amount of money. What was this man flourishing the note for? Now Muni is thinking that why is this man showing me this, 100 rupee note? What is the purpose? Now he has understood that some talk of some financial thing is going on, right? But why is he showing me this note? What can be the purpose? Now Muni is again thinking, rolling his mind that why he is showing me this currency note? What can be the purpose of it? Perhaps asking for change. So this is what he could conclude, that he is asking for a change, right? He wants me to take this 100 rupee note and provide him a change for it. He laughed to himself at the notion of anyone coming to him for changing 1,000 or 10,000 rupee note. He, laughed at himself, laughed to himself means that, he did not laugh out loud, but in his mind that, I'm so poor and he has come to me to ask for for a change, right? He doesn't have seen a 100 rupee note. From where is he going to provide a change for it, right? He said with a grin, ask our village headman, who is also a money lender. So what should you do? You should go to the village headman, who is also a money lender. That means the only rich person of the village, right? He was the only rich person of the village. So he used to lend money to the villagers in times of need. He can change even a lakh of rupees in gold sovereigns if you prefer in that way. So in a way, Muni is, disapproving of him and saying that, he is very rich. He can, this 100 rupee note is nothing for him. Even you bring lakhs of rupees and you want gold in return of that, he will even do that. He is so rich. He has a lot of money and gold. He thinks nobody knows. He thinks that nobody knows that he is so rich. But dig the floor of his puja room and your head will reel at the sight of the hoard. Hoard is when you keep stocking things privately, right? So he's saying that, go. He won't say that he is so rich. He won't tell you that he has a lot of money. He pretends to be poor, but if you go and if, this is the assumption that Muni has of the village headman, that, you know, he is a very cruel money lender and he keeps extracting money and keeps hoarding it. And where does he hide that money? He digs the floor of the puja room and hides that money in. So if you go and dig the floor of the puja room, your head will reel, means your head will start spinning. And you know, at the sites that so much amount of wealth is kept hidden inside that. Why puja room? Because that place is very, you know, sacred, and nobody, no thief or no one would come and search for money over there. So a very safe spot has been chosen by the village headman to hide his money. The man disguises himself in rags just to mislead the public, because everybody else is very poor, so he should not show off much, otherwise he will be on target of everybody, right? Thieves and all might come, so he doesn't want to show, this village headman doesn't want to show everybody that he is very rich. He wants to mislead the public, and therefore what does he do? He disguises himself in rags, that is, he also wears, you know, torn clothes and all, old clothes, so that everybody thinks that he is also poor. Talk to the headman yourself before he goes mad at the sight of me. So Muni knows that if I'll go to him, he will get mad and he will shout. So it would be better that, you know, you go and talk to him yourself. Do not take me with you along, right? Someone took away his pumpkins with the creeper, and he, for some reason, thinks it was me and my goats. So why he would get mad at, you know, seeing Muni? Because he's also telling the reason, you know, that some days what had happened, someone took his pumpkins from the creeper. Creeper is the plant, right? That grows in on, you know, support, taking support of other things. It grows on that or on the floor, right? So it's a type of plant you must have studied in your biology. It is referred to as creeper. So pumpkins, somebody had stolen from the creeper, and he thought that, for what reason, Muni doesn't know. Muni says that I don't know for what reason, but he thinks that that pumpkin was stolen by me for my goats. Either my goats have eaten the pumpkin or I have taken the pumpkin. This is what he thinks. That's why I never let my goats be seen anywhere near the farms, right? That is why he keeps them tied to the drumstick tree, right? So he says that I don't let my goats anywhere near the farms, otherwise people, you know, keep putting blames like this. His eyes traveled to his goats nosing about. So by saying, he just looked towards his goats that were grazing here and there, attempting to wrest nutrition. That is, the goats are attempting to do what? To wrest nutrition, that is, derive from minute greenery peeping out of rock and dry earth. So we've already discussed that the situation of the village is not very good. Famines keep occurring. There isn't enough rainfall. There isn't enough vegetation. So again, there is an example that very, you know, minute greenery is peeping out of the rock and dry earth. That is, grass has also not grown much, right? Only here and there little amount of grass and plants, small plants had grown, and that these goats were trying to, you know, pull out and eat and trying to derive nutrition from this. The foreigner followed his look. See how beautifully he depicts the entire scenery, right? Where he has described how the goats are, you know, grazing. So instead of just saying that the goats were grazing, he has given this entire description. You can keep reading and picking up things, that how you have to describe. This is how you should describe things. An entire picture got painted in your mind, na? Of the you know, field, that how it must have been and how the goats were grazing there, right? So this, see how beautifully he has given the description. The foreigner followed his look. That is, the foreigner also looked in the direction in which Muni was looking, and decided it would be a sound policy to show an interest in the old man's pets. So now foreigner, you know, thought that it would be a good thing, a good policy, a good tactic to show interest in the old man's pets. That is, he should maybe pet them a little bit so that the old man becomes happy, you know, just to impress him, just to make convincing him easier. He went up casually to them and stroked their backs with every show of courteous attention. Like if you go to your friend's place and they have a pet, you keep talking to them, and you know, you take their pets and you know, maybe kiss them or hold them close, like that. So he's also trying to impress Muni, and he's just talking to Muni and casually stroking the goats, thinking that it might impress Muni. This would be a good thing to do, right? You know, it would be a good show of courtesy. Now the truth dawned on the old man. So by this, what did the foreigner do? That is going to the goats, first showing 100 rupee note, and then going to the goats and stroking its, you know, their back. Truth dawned upon the old man means Muni now understood what the matter was. Now he understood what the truth is. What did he understand? His dream of a lifetime was about to be realized. Something that he had been dreaming of or wishing for since, you know, his life, throughout his life, it is now going to become the truth. He understood that the red man was actually making an offer for the goats. What did Muni understand? He understood that the foreigner is wanting to buy his goats. He is offering the 100 rupee note for his goats. This is what Muni assumed, right? Muni thought that yes, now I have understood the matter. This foreigner wants to buy my goats. That is why he is showing me this 100 rupee note. He wants to buy my goats for 100 rupees. He had reared them up in the hope of selling them some day, right? Why do these people rear cattle? They do it to sell it at a good price and earn money, right? So this, similarly, Muni had also dreamed, you know, that someday some person will come and buy these goats and I will earn some money, I'll become rich. So now his dream was about to come true, and he would sell his goats and he would, you know, earn some money and get rich. This foreigner has come to buy his goats. That is why he was being so courteous to me. He was showing, you know, interest in my goats. Earlier also he had seen the goats, and now also he's, you know, patting them and maybe checking and seeing them, and now he is showing me this 100 rupee note. This is why he was talking about financial things. He wants to buy my goats. All right, we'll stop over here today.